Well, hello and welcome back to the Social Media Magic Podcast. My name is Brittany Verlenich. I'm a content strategist, social media manager, total marketing nerd, and I'm the host of the show. And I'm so glad you're here because it is not lost on me that you are choosing to spend some of your minutes or hours with me this week. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. It means so much to me as a fellow business owner, as a content creator, as just a creative being. So thank you. I appreciate it. And it is my goal for you to leave with a ton of value too, especially if you have been thinking about either ways to grow your email list, ways to be able to control your own traffic, to get in front of your customers. That is one limitation to being on a marketplace like Teachers Pay Teachers, like Etsy, like Amazon, or even Fiverr, which I've been active on lately, is that you don't have a way to control who sees what, where do people go after they buy your products, right? Of course, these marketplaces want to keep that information on lockdown because they have their own business goals. They have their own things they want to do with that contact information, with that customer information. But a Facebook group could be just the thing for you to build a community online, get people's email addresses, which is super, super important to grow your email list. It's one of the points of the show, by the way, helping you grow your email list with social media. And a Facebook group is very doable. Now, they all have different time and tech demands depending on which type you do and what the purpose of the group is. So that's one of the first questions we're going to answer for you. One of the first things you should know is what type of group should you start with? And honestly, before you can even answer that question, you need to know what types of Facebook groups there are. So let's start with that. As of when I'm recording this, that could definitely change. And if so, I will do a new episode. But as of when I'm recording this, there are 7 different types of Facebook groups. You've probably had at least some interaction with each of them, maybe even if you didn't know it, or if you didn't know that's the type of group it was. And in fact, most of these group owners and admins don't really know about the group types. So that's why we're covering it today. The first type is very popular with challenges or get it done weeks, I've heard, implementation weeks, and that is a pop-up group. Usually this Facebook group only exists for the container of a certain event. They're really great for summits, bundles, or even just launches. You might have people do a series of webinars or video, or like a video sales letter, basically, video sales page within a Facebook group. There is a defined beginning date and end date, and there's an understanding between everyone in the group that group is going to be archived by a certain date. It's really great for getting an engaged group of people going and getting your energy up and getting everyone pumped for a very limited amount of time. And it's especially popular with coaches, course creators, or service providers who are looking to launch something new. Now, you might be wondering, if we're talking about marketplaces, and if I have so many people who focus on printables or digital products listening to this podcast, why would I talk about this? Well, often one thing that kind of hinders our growth as creators is that we only stay in the lane that we're in. So we only listen to TPT seller coaches. We only buy Etsy seller courses. But I really do believe if we take a step back and we look at what people are doing in other niches and other types of businesses, in other business models, we learn a lot. And then we can figure out how can we take this inspiration, this idea that they had, and adapt it to my own business. And you'll often hear me talk about too, that it's not a good idea to put all of your eggs in one basket when it comes to income. So I do believe in having multiple income streams and traffic. So where people are finding you, where people are clicking on your stuff, there are very few things we own these days. And so I think it's a good idea to not put all your eggs in one basket, to not just market on Instagram, to not just have your marketplace for traffic on TPT, and not even Google, right? For a long time, Google was pinned as the only quote unquote reliable platform, but that's showing every day not to be true with every single update. I hear fellow bloggers saying that they've lost all their traffic, they've lost 90% of income. Real stuff is happening out there. Not that I want you to get lost in it, because I also think there's a danger of hearing too much negativity, and you really have to be living in Delulu land. Honestly, you have to be, because if you look at stats and percentages and data, chances are most people are not going to make it if we just look at that. But here's what I want you to adopt as a new belief. You are going to be in the 1%. You are going to be in the 10%. You have to live and operate in that space. Now we're getting kind of into the mindset stuff, but you have to live and operate in that space and make decisions from there instead of just looking at what everybody else is doing. In fact, when you have a new idea, instead of just going into Facebook groups and saying, has anyone tried this? What do you think of this? I'm thinking about doing this. Instead of doing that, take your new creative idea that came to your brain, your mind, and just try it out and trust that you have great original ideas, because the people with original ideas are going to stand out. They're going to rise above the rest, and their businesses are going to stand the test of time versus all the people who are just waiting for new ideas to follow and try. That got a little preachy for a minute, but hopefully you could appreciate it. So pop-up groups, back to what I was talking about, pop-up groups, really great for live events and for launches. So even though you may not be launching a course or a membership or anything like that, think about how you can adapt that to a bundle. Could you have a live run of a certain certain resource. Let me give you an example. If your resource has a Halloween craft activity, could you maybe walk a group of teachers through it and show them how it's supposed to look, maybe even model some teaching techniques? Honestly, that's going to be some of the best PD out there, better than what they're making people do at the actual schools. Just think about how you can make whatever it is you're selling more experiential. That's going to add value to the product. It's also going to put your face and name in that person's mind and keep it top of mind, which is really what marketing is all about. It's what branding is all about. And you are going to become someone who is super helpful and valuable to them, which is also going to increase strategically. It's going to increase lifetime customer value. They're going to spend more with you over time, but also probably more importantly, you are now building a bond with that customer so they can become a customer for life. So those are pop-up groups. That's 1 of 7. Number 2, we have customer and client only Facebook group. I have another episode coming out soon where I take a deep dive into why I made a decision to turn my free branded group, we'll get to branded groups in a second, to a customers and clients only Facebook group. So stay tuned for that. But basically the difference is a free group is where you really share your content. It's where you share your blog posts, your YouTube videos, your podcast episodes, your products. It's a place where people might discover you, right? People just join random Facebook groups all the time. So they might not know who you are. They might not really be invested with you. They might have never bought anything from you before. Whereas with a customer and client only Facebook group, a Facebook group isn't part of the core deliverables. So say someone buys a product from you on Teachers Pay Teachers and you have in one of those thank you pages, hey, come join our customer and client only group. It's a bonus you get. See how even just that positioning makes it seem more valuable. This is a bonus that you get by buying this product. So it's not something that they were expecting or that was required from the offer. It's something they're getting that's extra, and it builds that goodwill, and it just shows like, hey, I'm going above and beyond to help my customers. So I think it's a really great idea to consider, especially if, and this is part of why I decided to make my change, if you're someone who gets a little scared about sharing your ideas and your opinions and things online, or if you're just kind of camera shy and you want to be in front of people where it feels a little bit safer, they already kind of know you, they already like the quality of your work, a customer and client only group is great for that. So anytime someone buys one of your courses, buys a digital product from you, hires you for a service, hires you for a coaching session, whatever it is, you invite all of them to this one group. And the great thing about this is they're already sampling your work, right? They already like what you're about. So it's not as hard of a sell. And one thing I'm really liking is it doesn't require as rigid as a content plan as some of these other group types do. So it's more of like a hanging out, a checking in, being able to show up and provide extra value for people who have opted into you. It's almost like a second email list, truly, in the sense of they got onto your email list because they opted into something. In fact, I would even say that this Facebook group, whereas a free branded group is kind of like a second email list, they get a freebie and then they get access to your group, or they just see your name and decide to join it. Like, that sounds cool. I like this girl or her podcast or whatever. Instead of that, they are even more committed than your email list, because the email list, someone just got on there because of a freebie, same thing. They might have just joined a group or whatever. So it's not top of funnel, but it's kind of like medium top, right? They could unsubscribe at any time, right? They're not super committed usually, unless they've been on your email list for a while, after all of your launches, after all your promotions, and they're still there, which if you're one of those people, thank you for being one of my listies. A customer client only group is different because they've bought something from you. And if someone has bought something from you and they want to hear more from you, they're more likely to buy again, and they're more likely to give you a positive testimonial within your group, which also sells your other resources, and to refer people to you. It's a really powerful ecosystem, and this is not my original idea, by the way. I am a big fan of the Client and Customer Only Groups course by Elizabeth Goddard. I'll be sure to include my affiliate link somewhere here. If you do decide to get that course through her link, send me a message on Instagram over at Brittany Verlenich and let me know, and I'll be sure to send you a free product as a thank you. So if you've had a branded group for a while and you felt like it's not really working out or aligned with you or your business or how you want to show up online, maybe consider starting a new group, right? You could just start over and have everybody who buys something move over, or you could transition your currently free branded group into a private customers and clients only group. Okay, number 3 of 7, third type of Facebook group is offer specific. So this is a little bit different than a pop-up group, whereas a pop-up group, it is only available from first date to last date. Usually it coincides with some kind of launch or some kind of live online event. An offer specific group is only available to people who bought that specific offer. So it's also a little bit different than a customer and client only Facebook group, because with a customer and client only Facebook group, there's also a bit of an assumption with the business model that you have multiple different types of offers. So you might have some coaching, you might have some done for you services, you might have some digital products, you might also have some courses, or maybe even some memberships or a membership, and everybody who buys something funnels into this one Facebook group. It's very, very different. It's really more of like a model. It's really great for people who have multiple offers, multi-passionates, and also personal brands. And we will get to brands in a minute, but I also want you to be thinking about, as you're listening, which one really speaks to the business model you have. I definitely have a personal brand, right? You might have even noticed that if you've been around for a while. I used to say Verity Media, and while it's still the official name of my agency, it's really me here, right? Like it's really me that you're interacting with. So you want to be thinking about that for you. Do you want to be known and show up in the online space as your TPT brand store logo, or do you want to show up as yourself, or a combination of the two? There's really no wrong answer, but there are pros and cons to each, and I should really talk about that in a future episode. If you're interested in hearing more about that, definitely let me know in the comments here on YouTube, or if you're watching on Spotify or some audio only platform, if you're listening there, send me a DM on Brittany Verlenich and let me know what you think of that. Number 4 of 7, the fourth type of Facebook group there is a niche Facebook group. And this is one that is not associated with any one type of brand, with any one brand or with any one company or podcast or anything like that. One example I love to use is We Love Cats and Wine. You know exactly what that group is about, okay? I don't even really have to explain it. These are usually groups for communities, they're groups for niche, for memes. There's another one, you could probably think of even your local groups, right? I'm in some Facebook groups for Tucson, I'm in Facebook groups for Arizona. It's not usually one brand who's really benefiting from it. It can be. Sometimes a brand will strategically have a niched Facebook group, but I mean, Traveling Teachers is a really good example of that. That is a company that actually came from the community first. Traveling Teachers really spoke to who the group was for and what it was about. You know what it's about, right? It's very clear, not very clever, but then the company Traveling Teachers, it was named that because of the community. I wanted them to coincide because it was a community first, and then I came up with products and services that fit the community. So it's a very different approach, and I don't think there's a wrong or right here. So if you already have a company or a brand that's established and you're like, oh no, I didn't build a community first, there's nothing wrong with that. That is just my journey and how I started with stuff, but yours can be totally different. And for most sellers, which I know we have a mix of people watching and listening, but primarily people who sell digital products on a marketplace like TPT, like Etsy, like Amazon KDP, you're going to benefit the most probably from having a branded group. So I'll get to that in a minute, but I wanted to make sure you knew about offer specific groups, because especially if you were also a course creator or a membership owner, service provider, or a coach, you might have a program where you need to communicate things inside a container. And usually people will go back and forth between like Telegram, WhatsApp, Voxer, a Facebook group. So really it's like just a place for communication or for a place to hold materials. I have done that for courses. I actually have my membership, the Group Growth Journey. You're welcome to come and join us if you're looking to grow your Facebook group. I'll be sure to have information about that down in the episode description as well. But I have a Facebook group specifically for that, kind of meta, right? But the group there is really to answer questions. It's to track questions that come in because I answer them in a video and I put them in there. I also house the actual course in the group, which is unique. So anytime I upload videos to the portal, my course portal is MemberVault, I also include them in the guides of that Facebook group. And it's partially just for ease of access because some people really struggle with logins and finding things, and it's just stressful, and it's just making it easier for them, and also reduces questions for customer service for my team. So multiple benefits there, but you don't have to do all that. There are multiple ways for you to use offer specific groups, but you might want to consider if the group is a core offering, like we are going to do coaching in this group, we're going to meet, I am going to go live in this group and you will interact there, or if the group is just an added bonus, like you have programs where you meet on Zoom, you communicate through Voxer, and also we have a Facebook group. I even do this for my retreats, honestly. Now, actually, let me just quickly show you about an app, and this is not sponsored, but please, like Photo Circle, come sponsor me. Photo Circle is this amazing app where if you go on a trip with your friends, everybody uploads their photos to this app, and everybody can go to this app in real time and they can download the photos and videos that other people uploaded. It's really smart because you don't have to upload it to Facebook or Instagram or whatever, and everybody has to go through all the other stuff. It is specific to that trip. It's really amazing. Very brilliant app idea. So before that existed, before I started using that this past summer, I would use a Facebook group, and I would literally just take all the photos and videos that people gave me, and some were in WhatsApp, some were on Facebook or wherever they sent it, because it was all over the place, and I would upload them into the group for the people's convenience. But now we do all of our communication in a WhatsApp chat, and I have all the photos and videos in Photo Circle. So when you're planning your programs and things like that, it's also good to think about what are the core deliverables, what are the bonuses, and then where, if you are going to use an offer specific group, is your offer specific group going to be a core deliverable, or is it going to help facilitate the core deliverable, or is it going to be a bonus? The next type of group is a public one, and this is one that I don't really use in any of my stores or brands. I've never used it for a client, but I still wanted to mention it because there are some companies or organizations who could benefit from it. Really, a public group, its core purpose is to communicate. It's really like a broadcast. It is not private, so you don't have that benefit of closeness and safety that a private group does, but it could be beneficial like for usually a restaurant or like a city tourism board board, or for like I've seen public schools, it's basically operating like a Facebook business page, except for that you have group posts there. So sometimes group members can post, even though it's public. Sometimes they can't post, but you don't really have to do anything to join. It's just like you click join group and then you can interact with it. This one will definitely get its own series of episodes and videos in the future, and that is a collaborative group. This is a really awesome option if you struggle to have the time or energy or resources to run a Facebook group yourself, but you also don't have the money to pay a virtual assistant or hire a freelancer or a social media manager. A collaborative group is exactly that. You go into a Facebook group, you start a Facebook group with 2, 3, 4, I would really say no more than 4 other people, and you all share the load and the work of this Facebook group. And it kind of also operates as a niche group, which is why I wanted to put those right next to each other, because if the group, for example, is called third grade teachers, one of you focuses on third grade math, one of you focuses on third grade ELA, one of you focuses on third grade history or social studies or whatever, then you all are serving a different need. You're all serving a different purpose and meeting different needs of the same target demographic, which is third grade teachers. So that would be a really good aligned fit if that is your niche, by the way, and you all want to share a third grade teachers group. And the cool thing is you can all share your products in there. You can all collaborate on content. You do have to have some pretty amazing communication though. And I actually do have a mini course about collaborative Facebook groups. And if you're interested in that, I'll have that information in the episode description for you. Or if you just have a question about a collaborative Facebook group, you can drop it in the comments here on YouTube or send me a DM on Instagram over at Brittany Verlenich. And then last but not least is a branded Facebook group. And 9 times out of 10 for most clients, this is what I recommend. A branded group is exactly that. The group is really aligned with your specific brand. So going back to that question initially at the beginning of the episode, should you go with a TPT or company store brand with a logo, or should you lean more into your personal brand? That's a question that you'll probably have to answer over time. I have decided with this brand, at least, I am going all in with my personal brand, Brittany Verlenich. There are pros and cons to both, but a branded group is exactly that. People usually look for you or your brand or a branded asset that you have. So let me give you an example. Before I transitioned my current group to be a private customer and client only one, it was a branded group to my podcast. So if anyone was watching or listening to the Social Media Magic podcast and they searched that on Facebook, they would find my Facebook group. I shifted this for a couple of reasons, and I will get more into that in another episode, but this is something you want to consider because, and maybe your podcast actually has more brand recognition than your TPT store or your company brand or your personal brand. Oppositely, you might have more brand recognition with your personal brand than with your company or with your offers. So there are a lot of things you have to consider in which way you want to go with it. I will say another consideration for me, part of the reason I wanted to develop a personal brand was because I knew that I wanted to lean more in with the experiments I do, with the different sites that I launch, the different projects I have across niches. And one thing I really see myself doing over time is bringing what I do in travel and what I do in social media together, which is kind of a scary and big deal, but I see now how much they really do collide and connect. Like travel and social media are really at the forefront of what I do, and they really do link together. So that is part of the why, but I will get into a behind the scene kind of strategy session with you all and record that and walk you through what I was thinking. But that is the way I'm going to say most of you should go. And in the group growth journey, that is really what we focus on. And that is my membership. It's very affordable. And that really is the way I tell most sellers and most online business owners to go, is with a free private branded Facebook group. In my membership, by the way, which is super affordable and low ticket, the group growth journey, that is exactly what we focus on. It's growing your branded Facebook group. And while you're growing that, you are also growing your email list and building an audience of buyers who love you and your stuff. So it's really exciting. If you're interested in that, you can check that out in the episode description as well. And as always, if you have a question, drop it in the comments if on YouTube, or send me a DM on Instagram at Brittany Verlenich if you don't want to ask it publicly or you have a private question. Thank you so much for watching or listening to this episode of the Social Media Magic Podcast. I hope you loved it, and I can't wait to see you, or rather you see me, in the next episode.